Pereira, Alex Pereira, you said you want to box. I'm the king of this. I'm the king of this. Come over. We can make it happen. I want you, Alex Pereira.
You want the UFC light heavyweight champion, Alex Pereira?
Indeed. Indeed. I just beat a BKFC champion. I beat multiple UFC champions, and he said he wants to box. So, Alex Pereira, after Mike Tyson, let's make it happen.
Okay, so we got Alex Pereira versus an Australian heavyweight boxer. This footage is coming out after Jake Paul calls him out after his big win over Mike Perry. Let's see how this sparring session goes and kind of dissect it here. Look, the first thing I notice is Alex Pereira is an extremely strong puncher, powerful puncher. It's like getting hit by a cinder block. His hands are down. His hands are down. That's going to be a real big problem against a boxer like Jake Paul. You know, people want to hate on Jake Paul. He's not fighting any boxers. You know, that is a warranted criticism. But if he's going to fight Alex Pereira, Pereira's got to keep his hands up. This is not very technically sound boxing at all. And Pereira's going to be in a lot of trouble if he goes into the ring like this. Again, the defense not great. Could be worked on though, but what makes Pereira really effective in the UFC is, like I said, he's a deadly puncher, but it's the threat of everything else he has. It's the threat of his kicks that really helps set up his punches. And you just don't have that benefit in boxing. Boxing is a sweet science, and purely as a striker and boxer, Pereira's got a lot of holes that he's got to fill if he wants to win a fight against Jake Paul. This was a real strategic call out by Jake Paul. I would say it's probably one of his biggest money, most smart call outs he has, because Alex Pereira is such a dynamic knockout artist in the UFC, but look, his hands are completely down. His boxing is, you know, if he's just in a straight up boxing match, his boxing is not great. He got good jabs, you know, again, he hits real hard. But I think this guy is really just, you know, toying with Pereira a little bit here. Like it hurt. You can actually see as this sparring session goes on, Pereira's head movement is a little improves definitely a little bit here. I don't think good enough to, you know, go into a professional boxing match, but yeah, you know, Pereira is so deadly. I don't. I'll say this. If there's anybody who could just catch Jake Paul and knock him into orbit, it's this guy. Even if he's not the most technically sound. It's a real dangerous call out for Jake Paul. I do think he's a way better boxer than Pereira is, but Pereira is just such like a horrifying human. That's he's got to play a mental war game if he wants to beat Jake. And like we saw in the Israel Adesanya fight, Pereira doesn't have the best chin. Like if you connect with him correctly, he could be had. He could go down, but he could also punch you through the wall. I think Jake Paul will fight pretty easily.
Any specific reason that you call out Alex Pereira? Obviously, UFC contract. It'd be tough to get him out.
Yeah, no, I mean, I want everybody. I love this sport. And you know, he's tweeted about wanting to go into boxing. We got him on the FaceTime right there in the ring. And I said, yo, can you get out of your contract? If he can get out of his contract, then let's run it. And so when I asked him that, he had a pause. He like looked at his manager. You know, these guys aren't their own bosses. So I want all the smoke, but at the end of the day, will Dana let him out? That's too big of a risk if I could embarrass his #1 praised fighter right now. But I want all the smoke. I want all the MMA guys, and I've beaten all of them. Who's next? He's the king right now of the UFC, so I want him. I'm gonna decapitate him and dethrone him.
And just to be clear, right, it was Anthony Joshua that said Pereira should enter the boxing ring. Pereira said, I'm honored, I would love to, who should I fight? Right, and when Jake saw that, he said, hey, you should fight me. And we said, well, he signed to the UFC. And that was the basis of that discussion.